the podcast that we focus on living life consciously. I am Michael Aveney.
And I am Marilyn Egan.
And today we are doing something a little different. It's just us today for this podcast, which I'm always excited. I actually love that. But normally we have these where we sort of think them through and we're pretty clear about coming on. And so that we produce really amazing content, but I realized that it was coming from our head, and we are going to open up today and talk about stuff coming from our heart.
Yes.
And the changes that we're all dealing with in the world that are so prevalent that we don't know how to do things that we thought looked like one way are really not that way, and up is down and down is up and blue is green and all of this stuff. And I want to take a conversation here today and just really open up and just know that the perfect places, people, and events are going to come into play in our thoughts and thinking, and they will all dovetail together and be a beautiful thing. Yes. I want to start out with just by reading the definition of change.
Okay, perfect.
Change is to make different in some particular, alter, never bother to change the will. B, to make radically different, transform, can't change human nature. That's kind of funny that that's underneath there because we can't.
Yeah.
To give a different position, course, or direction, to replace with another, to make a shift from one to another, to exchange for an equivalent sum of money or smaller denominations in a foreign currency, to undergo modification of, to put fresh clothes or covering on. Isn't that interesting?
All of those.
Yes.
The different ways of looking at change.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
The context of it. To change your clothes, to exchange money. Yes. Yeah. Those are not the changes that we're talking about today, though. We're talking about to replace one with another.
Yeah.
You know, I both know energetically that the world's been changing for a long time, and it's been speeding up. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm 100% clear we're in another paradigm now, and things that used to work no longer work. And the things that how we saw them in the past, we were talking right before we started about light workers, and if anybody knows what a light worker is, you know, somebody that's called to heal and share their gifts and are energetically sensitive to what's going on in the world. But most of us hold a fundamental knowing that everything is truly a reflection of what is going on inside the individual person.
Yes.
And also the collective.
Right. And it becomes more and more clear as an energy worker or a light worker that everything going on around us, if you look at it, is reflected on the inside of us too. And we sometimes create our outer world based on our inner world. We also, if we can look at things that way, it can make a lot more sense about what's going on inside of us too. And it also empowers us to know that we can make these changes. And there's always the unexpecteds that show up too, and being able to look at those in a different perspective is very helpful too. So just recently for me, actually 3 weeks ago yesterday, and I'd kind of had little inklings and messages that something was going to happen, but my husband left to go have a stress test done on that Friday morning, and there's a lot of heart health family history, and he had not been feeling his best, and we just decided to rule out cardiac issues because we didn't want to look at it. We kind of said, you know, when these things hit me or I had these thoughts, I'm like, oh, that's not what I want, so I'm not going to think about it. And
that was really important what you just said.
Yes.
that was your intuition,
Uh-huh.
and you were going to that old paradigm of if I think it, it'll manifest.
Right.
Right.
So I'm just going to push it
away.
away so it won't. But that's not how it works.
But yes, but something different happened. You had that intuition, and you kept on.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, I did ask him to just rule this out, just see what's going on in this part of the world for you. And so he did go to the cardiologist, and he went for the stress test. And I kept asking him if I could, same thing happened. I kept asking him if I could go with him. I said, I'll just go with you this morning. I can cancel my client. He's not going to care. I'll come with you. No, no, no. You're just going to watch me run on a treadmill. And I somehow knew there was more going on. But for us to say, yeah, come, it would have felt more like we were, same thing, bringing it to us and admitting that there was something bigger happening. So later that day, I got a phone call, and actually he had tried to call me, and then the cardiologist called me to explain what was going on, and they rushed him into the cardiac cath lab. And I was there before he came out of the cath lab, and then they explained to me that he needed to have bypass surgery. But the beauty of the whole thing is the first thing the doctor says when he comes out of the cath lab is, he has an extremely healthy, strong heart. There's nothing at all wrong with his heart. He's got the perfect heart. It's just what's around it, the circulation getting into it, is not working right. There's lots of blockages around his heart. And he says, but we can fix that. And he says the rest of his body's healthy. I believe that he will come out of this perfectly. So, it was a shock. It was a tornado for us in the moment to, okay, here we go. This is on a Friday afternoon. This was not what we had planned. However, while he was in surgery, I just kept thinking about the whole situation. I thought this was probably the best. We know it was the best way for this to happen. It energetically cleared all the things that have been around his heart, probably his entire life. And this may be a little deeper than some people would look at it, but also generational patterns that were in his field that needed to be released and moved out. And I told him the next day that that's how I saw it, and he totally agreed with me. He knew that the surgery cleared away a lot of old patterns and old belief systems and old ways that no longer work. So it's been actually a pretty amazing experience for us. And I knew that he could have chosen to go or stay. And I thanked him when I saw him in all the tubes and all of the monitors and everything around him. I said, thank you for choosing to stay and go through all this pain instead of just leaving the earth very easily like you could have. And that was a big message for him too. And he's healing.
Yay.
Yeah, and he's doing great. And it's just pretty amazing, very amazing for the depth of his blockages, that he came through all of this with zero damage to his heart. But he's always taken good care of himself, and we believe that that has a lot to do with it. But we also, because of the way he cared for himself, we didn't think this would ever happen. So it happened in a different way, in a different reason, and we have a totally different perspective on the benefit that it gives him and us and our entire family.
How is that like now? Like that, since that's opened up, and what are the changes that you are feeling now, that you're seeing now?
There's, it's really interesting. He's more sensitive to like the drama shows on TV. He doesn't want to watch any of that. He's really bored at home right now. He's read 5 books. And,
Listen to our podcast.
yes, and listen to all of our podcasts. And I said, well, there's some of those Netflix series that you like to watch that I don't watch because of the drama. And he goes, yeah, I don't think I want to watch those anymore either. So there's lots of different things like that. Some foods that he used to want to eat, he doesn't want to eat anymore. And a lot of his way of being is just starting to show up, that he's changing things. He's changing things. And he has a whole new gratitude for life and family. And for us. And for me, what's funny, I started my new office 3 years ago, and I always say I love being at my office as much as I love being at home. How great is this? And right now, I do love being at my office, but I really feel the need to spend more time with him right now too.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting
Do you feel more connected?
dynamic. Yes, we feel more connected. I feel more connected to him, and I believe he's feeling it with me. And actually, as the first week and a half that I was with him at the hospital and at home, I think that's how I was doing energy work on him. For me to cognitively think about it was going to be too much work for both of us. And I think I was just automatically working on him by connecting to him in a deeper way. And that it was easier for me and easier for him to receive it in that way also.
Yeah.
Very powerful. It's very powerful for all of us.
So you've had the changes with the health. Have you noticed any other changes? Just
changes in the way of being of everything.
Just pertaining right now to like your life.
Yes.
Have you noticed anything else?
Oh, there's lots of changes going on. It seems like when I think about something or someone, they're automatically showing up. Or I'll think, oh, this would be so much easier if I could do this first. And then something will happen and it'll show up. I can't think of an exact example right now. It just seems to be kind of the way of being. Maybe with this, because like this morning, you were getting the message, it will show up, and then I did too. It's like, and even my husband said that to me, the words are just going to be there. They'll just come whenever you get on the microphone. And that's what's happening with everything. Think about it. It happens.
Like in the moment.
And in the moment, exactly.
Yeah, I've been changing for forever. It seems like that's all it is. But there's something different about
this one.
About now, that's distinct. Like I've experienced. Mine's more with my career, and about 4 or 5 years back, 5 to 6 years back, had a huge shift in my life that it was a complete fork in the road, taking a complete new direction. I went into the real estate industry and had no affinity for it at the beginning. Everything in my life had always been pulled by a passion that was up front. This, I was so cleared out with all the stuff that I had to deal with, basically a lot of loss. And I was just kind of at the starting line again. And I wasn't looking for, I didn't have the passion, it wasn't there. I just said, if I could pass that test, I'll do that. There was just something, that's how minute that was. That's how, it was just that. It was as simple as that. If I can pass that test, then I'm going to do this. And I did. I have become really passionate about it because I get to help people.
Yes.
And on different levels. And sometimes they come because they're excited about their new house. Sometimes I work with a lot of investors too. I love that part about without investors, cities would deteriorate quickly because they're the ones that come in and take the house in the neighborhood that's not at the top parts.
Right.
There's a big picture vision of how real estate impacts communities, and I love being a part of that. And there's so much like craziness, confusion in each of those transactions. Everybody's playing in different, some so and so's a lot of stuff's got to come together, and it's my job to make sure that stays together, that it gets closed and they get the keys. And
Yes.
and seeing what happens. And sometimes it's a death, sometimes it's a divorce. It's all different aspects of life, and I've enjoyed it. And last year I became a broker and started a brokerage with some of my ex-clients, or we work together now. They used to be clients of mine that I would scout deals for, and I just love their professionalism. And they always say, who you surround yourself with, you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with the most. And I'm like, those guys know what they're doing, and I love that. And I just have always been connected, and they've been so great with me. And being there
Nice.
has been a true blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're growing and expanding, and new expansions coming at the beginning of the next year, which kind of give me this new space to create something different in my life, or there was space again.
Yes.
And what to do with that. There was no fear. There still is no fear, even though I don't fully know what that is. We started the podcast and started talking about it in June, probably.
Yeah.
If not before. Mm-hmm. Adding that into, that's something that I've never done. I'm focused on this until that thing's good and gone and ready, and then I normally don't split the focus, but because I have life coached and coached companies and I've been doing it for 20 years, mm-hmm. but I've never, it's something that's just organic in me, and I love to share it, but there's just something different about right now. Like, is that what I'm supposed to do? What do I want that to look like? There's a lot of uncertainty there, which normally would send me right over the edge, and which screws everything up, ultimately. But that fear is not there right now. It's like, I know it's going to be taken care of.
Yes, I get what you're saying exactly. Through all of this, I said, okay, I'm canceling everybody for almost 2 weeks or longer. I mean, I've totally rearranged my schedule around this, where my income is different right now, his income is different right now. We're like, it's all okay. This is where we're supposed to be doing. It's kind of like we've had to move into a space of trust, trust in the divine, to know that part of this may make sense, may not make sense, but we know it's right. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what you're saying also.
Yeah. Like, it's right for me
right now
to be silent, to be still, to go to the observer.
Yes.
And it, like, that's with us, that's on the micro, right?
Yes.
Everybody's individually going through whatever changes they're going through, which I believe we're all feeling it, whether we can enunciate it or not.
Yes.
I totally believe we're all feeling it. Mm-hmm. But then there's the collective.
Right.
I used to not be able to watch, what's going on in the news or hearing, tragic stories, but my gosh, it is everywhere. And, dealing with what we've had to deal with here in the U.S., with this, half of the country, or less than half of the country, sort of on one side of the aisle, and then the other people on the other side of the aisle. I don't know if I'm on either side of the aisle. Obviously I'm not for all of the crap that's been happening, that's right in our face with all of the Trump crap, but the part about, I don't want to be part of that division anymore.
Right. We want to find unity about the whole situation. And actually, that's another piece that was going on with this last election, is that the news was, and I don't watch the news very often, but I saw just a clip about well, they're predicting that this side is going to be really upset if they don't get their way, and this side is going to be upset if they don't get their way. And then what happened is there was just enough on both sides where there was not the fight, there was not the anger. Everyone felt like they won a piece of that in that election. And I didn't know how to feel about it at first. And then when I realized that piece, that no one was really shooting daggers at one side or the other, that everyone was feeling like, okay, we got our little piece of win, and
we're right, we won, we're right.
Yeah.
But then half the country is wrong. How is that
Right,
ever going
right.
to? How is that ever going to be united?
Well, I feel like this was a step. This was a step because, in my view, more people came out to vote than ever before.
Yeah.
There were more women elected than
Amen.
ever before, and more minorities. And to me, that was a step of how it was intended in the very beginning, I believe, when America was created. So that everybody matters, every human matters, and that it's just one step in the right direction, I believe. So I hold hope. I hold hope that we can come into a space of unity and be a meeting of the minds instead of my side, your side.
What's hope mean to you?
Possibility.
Yeah.
Possibility. Lots of different possibilities. There's many different ways that it could go, but just seeing the outcome of the entire situation being a positive for the highest good of all.
I recently read an article about how we should really delete the word hope from our vocabulary, and I thought, I kind of get that, like it's disempowering in a little bit, but it's also, it's the intention behind the word, because I knew that you were really talking about that the possibilities, which possibilities are always infinite. It just depends on which one you want to look at or focus on or choose. And then I felt the same way about, at the very beginning, when the election results started to come through, I was like, oh God, here we go again. And then it shifted.
Yeah.
And, but the thing is, I turned it off this time. Like 2 years ago when it happened,
Yes.
I was distraught for weeks.
Yes, I remember.
And it was personal then, because of having a pre-existing condition.
Right.
Health insurance and is huge for people, and then it reflects in the polls that everyone says that is their top priority. And it's that whole thing, like, who are we as a people? Like, why wouldn't we want to take care of ourselves? Why is there even this conversation about it should be nothing except for let's take care of everyone.
Yes,
like
I agree.
I'm so sorry. This is ridiculous.
Let's all work together here. Yes,
so,
I agree.
But if there are forces out there that are creating this division, it'll collapse. It can't hold. I totally believe that, if there even is such a thing.
Yeah.
But it does seem like there has to be some sort of energy out there that is creating this split. Or is it just happening so that we can see it for what it really is? What are your thoughts?
That's what I feel. I feel like what's happening right now is there's always been this conflict underneath. Some of these issues have been buried and hidden and not seen, and it's got to be healed. Inside of us, we want to see these issues get healed. So guess what? They are being dug up. They are being stirred up. They are being brought to the surface for us to see. Because I think when they're seen and noticed, then people start to realize that they do care. And because people start to care, then things can start to change, because frankly, it's not the government that's going to make these changes. It's the people, and where our hearts are, what our hearts are feeling, and the reflection of what the people are feeling are going to show up.
Yeah.
And I feel because people are caring and speaking up, that now we have space for it to heal.
Yeah. And living here, we live in the heartland. We live in the heart of the United States.
Yes.
And that's not missed on me for, there's a
Right.
reason for that.
Right.
And there's also an extraordinary amount of spiritual minded. There's a huge community here in St. Louis.
There is.
Huge, which we're fortunate enough to tap into for
Yes.
our podcast, which I'm grateful. But it's taking that to the next level. And we were talking right before we started, and that quote, the solution to our problems are never going to be at the same level of consciousness in which they were created.
Yes.
So, if we flip that to the collective, that means that I know how to shift my own consciousness and my own awareness, but when we start shifting to the collective that's now experiencing this,
yes,
that's a different paradigm that has it's still generated individually, I believe, but it's affecting everything
right,
on the whole.
Right. I personally believe that if I raise my vibration and you raise your vibration by the various things we do, we can talk about that later as to how to do that. But as we do that, we affect everyone around us, not just the ones we have physical contact with, but energetic contact with. That the higher the vibration, the more you are helping others by just being. Being in that vibration can be very supportive to other people to help them raise their vibration. Because when our vibration's higher, we feel better. And it just runs through
Its course.
its course, right? And almost like an electrical current around our globe. I believe that we are connected to everyone. And if we take responsibility to raise our vibration, we are helping so many other people at the same time, and we don't even know it. We don't have to know it.
Well, this sparked another thought in my head.
Okay.
The planet's alive too,
Yes.
and her vibration's rising.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the little things that we see, well, not little, but all of the massive earth changes, Mother Earth is just as alive as we are.
Yes, I do believe that. And I do think that as humanity raises their vibration, then the earth will heal.
Yeah.
And is healing. So that's another example of how we are raising vibration, and the earth is also shifting and moving
And I was,
cleaning
we've been
itself up
talking a lot
too.
about vibration. I know there's people probably listening to us that don't know what that is or how to process that. I always tell people it's just like a radio station.
Yes.
It's like you're listening to a radio station or a television station. It doesn't matter. Well, since we've been talking about politics and the status of the world,
Yeah.
people that listen to a Fox News, that's a vibration.
Right.
And they match that vibration, or they wouldn't be listening to it.
Right.
You're never going to have an MSNBC person. Their vibration's in alignment with that.
Yes.
And they're not going to ever go back. The solution is not there. It's just a demonstration of vibration.
Right.
And how there's a vibration for this and a vibration for that. But they're not congruent. And one thinks one's evil and one thinks they both think that on some level.
Yeah.
They think one is right and one is wrong. And I've got to fight to be right. And that whole fighting to be right doesn't function anymore. It's fallen away.
No.
You can't win this like that anymore.
Right.
It's about all of us, and it's about the solution. I don't know
Yes.
what that is yet, but I know it's not at this level of vibration of he said,
Right.
she said, one, I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
That whole mentality, something's happening that's causing all of us to go to another place where the solution is at.
Yes.
And I know it's some form of unity consciousness
It
because I
is.
know that that's what's happening. But, you can't understand light until you've been in the darkness.
Exactly. We experience the contrast,
Yeah.
and then we come into the light and understand it, and then we know how good it feels.
Yeah.
We know how good it feels. But yes, I totally agree. The fight part is over. The pushing, the fighting is over.
Imagine, like, John Lennon.
Right.
Imagine all the people.
He was way ahead of us, wasn't he?
He sure was.
Yeah.
But
that song has always touched me
how could it not?
Ages
Because it's
ago.
the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
We are all one, and we are all supposed to work together, and collectively, that's our strength. Is understanding that, and it is my prayer that everyone sees that and feels that.
It is. And we talked for a moment about watching the news, which I don't do a lot, but when I do watch it, I try to watch it in a state of love and prayer for all the conflict that they show us. I try to hold a space of a higher vibration of unconditional love when I watch it, or it doesn't feel good to me. But if I can do that, then that's the vibration I'm sending out to all of those, whether they're suffering, whether it's a criminal, whether it's a victim, whatever the situations are. If you can watch that and hold a space of love,
well,
it's helpful.
You said probably the most powerful thing that we've said today is you watched, you observed.
Yes.
And that is the way out of, because if you're listening to this and you're reacting to somebody that you see on TV, or you're reacting to a family member, you're reacting to anything, you are trapped in that vibration. There is something about that situation that's mirroring something inside yourself, and it's showing up so that you can, if you react, you're going to repeat it.
Right.
And it will continue, and you will be stuck there.
Yeah.
If you want to move away from being stuck in a situation, you have to train yourself to go to your observer self.
Right.
And observe it. Even if you want to react,
yeah.
you have to keep doing it until there is nothing left there.
Yeah.
No reaction. Mm-hmm. When there is no reaction, you'll slide right through that situation. If we stop reacting, which I think a lot of our country actually has.
Yes, there's
really
definitely a shift in that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because I noticed that sense several months ago that there was just, everybody had tuned themselves out. I don't care what you call it, we weren't reacting to it.
Yes.
And that reaction is what causes it to repeat.
Right.
And if there's nothing if you don't react to the bully in the room, the bully has no power.
Right, and they're missing love.
Yeah.
If you send love to the bully, then
but
they
you
gotta
can't
feel
see
it.
that,
right,
or know that until you're the observer.
Right.
If you're in the fight
and
with the bully, you're not going to be sending love to the bully.
No.
You are going to be in the middle of it and perpetuating it.
Yeah.
And that brings me back to what you said in the middle of this when we're talking about the back and the forth. They won. We've got to fight to get back to, that whole back and forth thing is all just a part of that. And now.
But I observed it also as saying, okay, there's a neutral space right here, and focus on that neutral space and observe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there, if you guys are listening, you're going through changes, be the observer. Let us know what's going on in your world, what changes that you see in your own life personally, and what you feel in the collective. This isn't about making someone wrong or yourself right. It's just go notice and go to the observer.
And if you have any questions, any responses, please post those so we can see what we need to talk about next.
Absolutely, because we have a whole season to plan at
Yes.
Christmas time. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.